So, sense organs help us to make sense of the world. Now, what do you mean by sensation? Let us see the definition of sensation. Sensation is the initial experience Sensation is the initial experience of a stimulus or an object registered by a particular sense organ, sense organ. So, what is sensation? Sensation is the initial experience of a stimuli or an object registered by a particular sense organ. So, whatever you see, whatever you feel or sense, or you see or hear with our sense organ is the sensation. And we can also say it is a process through which we detect or encode detect and encode a variety of physical stimuli. Sensation is the process through which we detect and encode a variety of physical stimuli. For example, you heard a loud a sound, okay, you detected it, and you got a smell, you detected it and you derived a meaning out of it. Yeah, that sound is of my mother's voice, or this smell is of some snack. So, after detecting it, you made a meaning out of it, you encoded it, and that is the sensation. So, sensation is the process through which we detect and encode a variety of physical stimuli. Otherwise, sensation is the initial experience of a stimulus or an object registered by a particular sense organ. So, now we already said that to deal with different forms of stimuli, we have different sense organs. For example, you heard a sound, okay, you heard the sound with your ears, not with your eyes. Eyes is to see something, okay. So, for each stimuli, to receive each stimuli, we have different sense organ. So, we have specialized, highly specialized, each sense organ is highly specialized for dealing a particular kind of information. Each sense organ is highly specialized for dealing with a particular kind of information. and hence each one of them is known as sense modalities, and hence each one of them is known as sense modalities. So, each sense organ is highly specialized to deal with a particular kind of information, and hence each one of them, each of the sense organ is known as sense modalities. Now, in our further videos we will be discussing in detail about the structure and functions of eye and ear, and the last video we discussed about the other 5 sense organs already. And before moving on to that in detail, you need to understand an important point that our sense organs work with certain limitations. Our sense organs are functioning with certain limitations. For example, can you see anything in a very dim light? No, right? And when you are going out during night time, suddenly a car comes in front of you with a very bright light. Will you be able to see anything? No. So, with a very dim light and also in a very bright light, you won't be able to see anything. And for example, somebody is talking very slowly, okay, to you. Will you be able to listen to it? Will it be audible? No. And if somebody is talking very loudly, in a very loud voice, then you will say, sorry, it is deafening, I am not able to understand anything. Okay. So, in a very loud voice or in a very slow voice, we won't be able to hear anything. And in a dark room, in a very dark room, will you be able to see anything? No. So, these are the functional limitations of our highly specialized sense organs. So, it is not possible for our sense organs to notice all the stimuli around us. So, it is not possible for our sense organ to notice all the stimuli present around us, and also our sense organs are not able to differentiate all the differences between all the stimuli, and also not able to differentiate all the differences between all stimuli. So, for being noticed by a sensory receptor, a stimulus has to be in a minimal intensity or magnitude. A stimulus has to be of an optimal intensity or magnitude for being noticed by a sensory receptor. So, a stimulus has to be in a certain magnitude or intensity for being noticed by the sensory receptor. Okay, not all the not all the stimulus are the sense organs are not able to notice all the stimuli around us, and also not able to differentiate with the all the differences between all stimuli. It has a minimum amount or value or weight for that stimulus for being noticed by the receptors. And a branch of psychology that studies the relation between the stimulus and the sensation that they evoke is called as psychophysics. Psychophysics, a branch that studies the relationship between stimuli and the sensations they evoke. Is known as psychophysics. Psychophysics is a branch that studies the relationship between stimuli and the sensations they evoke. That is called that branch is called as psychophysics. And now let us learn two main concepts from psychophysics. The one is absolute threshold. Absolute threshold or absolute Lyman. Absolute Lyman for brief, AL. Absolute Lyman. So, absolute Lyman is the minimum value of a stimuli required to activate a sense organ or the given sensory system. It is the minimal value of a stimuli required to activate a given sensory system. Means to be noticed, a stimulus must carry a minimum value or weight. For example, suppose somebody is calling you very slowly. Okay, somebody is calling you very slowly. You are not able to listen to it. For example, he is calling you in this much voice. Okay, and you did not hear. And then he increased his voice again. He called louder than before. He used this much voice. In the next time, again, still you did not hear. And in the next time, he called in a louder voice than before. Now he used this much voice. Okay, and now you felt like, yeah, somebody is calling me, or I heard some voice. So this minimum intensity which was needed to listen to that voice is called the AL. that minimum intensity needed to listen to that voice, that is the AL or absolute Lyman or absolute threshold. It is the, what is the definition? It is the minimal value of a stimuli required to activate a given sensory system, or we can also say the minimum intensity or magnitude of a stimuli required to arouse a sense organ. Required arouse our senses is called AL. So, and another example, take a glass of water and add some granules of sugar or some crystals of sugar into it and then taste it. You may not feel any sweetness, and again you please add some more crystals or granules of sugar into it and taste it again, and still no difference in the taste of water. Then like that add sugar again and again, and then after putting a certain amount of sugar, you would say, yeah, now I feel some sweetness for the water. So this minimal amount of sugar which was needed to make a difference in the taste of the water, that is the AL or absolute Lyman. And now there is no fixed point for this Lyman, absolute Lyman. No fixed point for AL. It depends upon the individuals, their situations, their organic conditions, and also varies with stimuli. It depends on individuals, their situations, their organic condition, and also it varies with the stimuli. Sometimes the sugar you buy from the grocery shop will be very sweet, okay, and some other times it will be it will have a very less sweetness. So it depends upon. So that is why it is called no fixed point for AL. It depends upon all these factors. Individuals, depends upon individuals, their situations, organic conditions, and varies with stimuli. And in your case itself, if you are not feeling well, you are feeling headache, and somebody gave you a laddu, okay, you may not feel the minimum stimulus there, because your concentration is on the headache, okay. So it depends upon these factors no fixed point for AL, and hence you have to assess AL on the basis of number of trials. So, you can assess AL on the basis of number of trials. So, the AL or absolute threshold is when we experience the 50 times or 50% of the times a stimulus. You have to feel 50% of the trials that AL you have to feel. For example, in the case of sugar, the sweet water, if you are conducting 100 times the trials, you are conducting 100 times, with the 50 times you must feel the minimum stimulus. That is what it is called, told here. You must feel 50 times or percent among the 100 times, then only you can say yes, this is AL. Now, you conducted 100 times and only the first 5 times you felt that yeah, this amount of sugar is okay, and all the rest 95 times you felt that no, this amount is not enough to feel the sweetness, then you cannot say that is the AL. Only 5 times you felt okay. You have to feel the 50 times or 50% of the trials, then only you can say this is the AL or absolute Lyman of that stimulus. Now, you are drinking the sweet water and I added again some more granules to it. Okay, no difference in the water. Again I added some more crystals of sugar into it, and I added some more sugar, and each time you taste it, and after a certain amount of sugar, putting certain amount of sugar, you felt a difference in the taste of water than before. So, the number of sugar granule added to generate a difference in the sweetness of water than the previous one, that is called difference threshold or difference Lyman. Difference threshold or difference Lyman. In brief, DL, difference Lyman. By definition, it is the smallest difference in the value of two stimuli that is necessary to notice them as different is the DL or difference threshold. So, the minimum amount of change, in a physical stimulus that is capable of producing a sensation difference on 50% of the trials is DL of the stimulus. So, among the 100 trials you must feel 50 times. So, the difference must feel 50% of the times, then only we can say that it is the difference threshold or difference Lyman of the stimuli. The smallest difference in the value of two stimuli that is necessary to notice them as different is the DL. Hope these two concepts are clear for you. So, now what are the limitations of sensory processes? Sensory processes are depends upon certain factors. Sensory processes are depends upon certain things. First one, stimulus characteristics. That is, how much of the stimulus intensity, aptitude, magnitude and brightness is there. So, it depends upon the stimulus characteristics. And the next point is, it depends upon the human sense organs. Human sense organs. For example, now in this light is enough to read something, okay, but a person who is blind by born, will he be able to read? No. So, this means that the sense organ, which is the eye, is not able to receive the receptors are damaged. Now, the eye is correct, no problem with the eye, he can see, but the neural pathways carrying the reception stimulus to the brain is damaged, then also he cannot see the things. Neural pathways carrying the reception stimulus to the brain is damaged. So, again it will not be defected by this. Now, neural pathways are okay, but sense organs are very healthy, but the section of the brain which is supposed to receive the stimuli has certain defects. Section of the brain it is supposed to receive the stimuli has certain defects. So, then the sensory process would be again hampered. So, these are the certain things that sensory processes depends upon. First one is stimulus characteristics, how much magnitude, intensity, aptitude, all the things have for the stimulus, and then problems with the sense organs. The sense organ must be very healthy, the neural pathways must be free, and the section of the brain must be okay, then only you will receive the stimulus. In the next video, we will discuss the structure of eye in detail. Thank you.